Do it again.
You didn't like a judge, that was
Good evening. If everybody could take their seats, that would be great. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Trustees meeting, May 28th, 2019. I'd like to take a motion to close executive session where the board was discussing legal matters and open the public meeting. Motion? Trustee Rosillo, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? Unanimous. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Trustee Taylor will lead us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yesterday, as all of you know, was Memorial Day, a holiday that we all celebrate. Many of us spend a lot of time with our families, our friends, enjoyed a beautiful day as it was. And it is also, we don't want to forget, a day to remember those who not only have served our country, but who have given the ultimate sacrifice. I'd like to take just one more minute to have us all reflect in a moment of silence on that particular point. Thank you.
Okay, just a comment on the weekend and what it meant, and it's a holiday that it does open up the summer. It's fun, the beginning of the nice weather, etc. But it's also very meaningful, and over the years. We've lost many of our service folks paying this, ultimate sacrifice. And, we had yesterday a big parade in Dobbs Ferry that was, I don't know who was there. Was anybody here at the parade? It was just a fantastic day in Dobbs Ferry, and great for Dobbs Ferry and great for America. But not only do we mourn those that we lost, but we also need to celebrate the lives that they led that allows us to be here today to discuss things like this and to have a picnic on the waterfront like yesterday. And it just turned out to be a great day, a great weekend to honor those on Memorial Day. And we must never forget. Thank you. Also, wow, Liz is down here. Liz Draper. Let me just mention, Liz, who is our clerk here, village clerk, was the Grand Marshal of the parade. When I was a kid, the first parade that I marched in, it was really special for me. I was in the Little League, and, I had three older brothers, and they all had been marching, and finally it was my turn to get in there and march. And it was a Memorial Day parade, and it was really a special occasion. My father had served in World War II, and my uncles in Korea and so forth. But Liz, I know how you, as Grand Marshal, leading the parade through Dobbs Ferry, must have been I want to know how you felt. It must have been an absolute. I was never able to lead a parade. So I want to congratulate Liz and everybody that came out to cheer her on, and everybody that marched in the parade.
Well, if I could just say, when the American Legion approached me and Mr. Hennessy actually asked me, and I told him I would be absolutely honored, I got off the phone and started crying, just thinking, my parents would have liked to have seen this, and but just what such an honor it was, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. So my thanks go out to the American Legion for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah. Thanks, Liz, and congratulations again. Thank you to the American Legion, to everyone else that got involved in pulling that wonderful day together. By the way, the hot dogs were fantastic down at the waterfront. I have to thank Double Days. Big thank you. Tommy Anderson and Danny Caldera, who provided the festivities down there at the waterfront yesterday. All right, I'd admit, I had a hamburger, too. It was fun. Okay. So now we get to my favorite part of being mayor. Doesn't get any better than this, especially when it's one of ours that's involved. So let me come down for this one. So I have to take a motion first, right, Lori Lee? I'd like to consider a motion to promote Police Officer Jerry Colbert to the rank of detective at the annual salary of $126,524, effective on May 29, 2019, at 12:01 a.m., as recommended by the police chief, Rick Guevara. I'll now administer.
You have to take a motion. You want to get the motion? You got it.
Deputy Mayor Cassell, second. Trustee Rizzo, all in favor? Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New York, and to carry out the duties of police detective of the Dobbs Ferry Police Department to the best of your ability? Thank you.
Thank you for everybody for coming out. Mr. Mayor, thank you. Trustees as well, thank you very much. Charlene. I want to thank my family, especially my beautiful wife and daughter, for adjusting to the cop schedule. And missed birthdays and rescheduled Christmases and all that stuff. I truly appreciate you. Chief Rivera, thank you for this opportunity. Very humble. That you all highly of me in this position. I appreciate it. Lastly, my fellow officers, thanks for coming out, for your support. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
We're gonna get your picture anyway. You look very good in gold. So can we get a couple of pictures up here? Maybe we'll get the board to come behind us here.
Still in front of Jeff's.
Okay. I know this is going to be a long meeting, Jerry, and I'm not sure if you want to stay for the, you're welcome to stay for the whole thing, but I don't know if you have plans to go out. Yes, yeah. I'll see you tomorrow in your, I don't want any investigations of me, though, Jerry.
Well, you still can.
Okay. Let them roll out a little bit. He's a funny guy.
Yes.
Oh, everybody's here that's on this list. We should get a picture with each of them. What do you think?
We have to get our plane tomorrow. I thought the path. We wanted to be on. I'm gonna take pictures of. I mean, come on.
Okay, Louis, you ready? Come on. Okay, I'd like to consider a motion to appoint Mr. Louis Tobacco as a starting laborer at the annual salary $47,340, effective June 1st, 2019. Motion, trustee Knell, second, trustee Taylor, all in favor? Unanimous. So Louis, I know Louis been on the job for a couple months now. And we're sitting down at Christmas time, at the holidays, having pizza with the crew over at DPW. And I went over and sat down next to Louis. He was first with the pie, so I figured I better get with this guy. And so we sit down and we're talking, and then Steve is the head of the DPW. Everybody knows Steve Trezor. But anyway, Steve sits down and we start talking about one thing leads to another. Steve's family's from Yonkers. I'm from Yonkers. I grew up a lot myself. Steve, your brother is a little closer to my age, your oldest brother. He must have been younger. I know that. Ages. So we're talking to Louis, and he says his last name is Tobacco. Well, how many people have these? So I said, no, I know you were the tobacco. And it happened to be his grandmother. We played ball together, grandfather and I. Your mother was a very wonderful, her father, wonderful people, really good stuff. So welcome aboard.
I don't have much to say, but I want to say thank you to the board, everyone showing. Stephen, Jen, I don't know where Jen is. Sean, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to a hopeful, healthy career. Hopefully, God will great place.
You'll do great. Oh, get a picture. Let's get a picture. Thank you so much.
Good luck. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
You take care.
Congratulations.
Stay standing then. She's probably so tired. Stand tall. Stand tall.
to appoint Mr. Sean Gucci as a motor equipment operator, step number 2, at an annual salary of $87,323, effective June 1st, 2019. Motion. Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Sullivan, all in favor? Unanimous. Come on up, Sean. I've known Sean for a long time. Well deserved. Thank you. I tell you, I used to work in New York City for 35 years. There was only one guy up with me on those snowy days, and that was Sean. That truck came around, right? Am I right? Up by me. And the street was always clean by the time, and that had nothing to do with the mayor or the board or anything.
Wait, where did that detective go?
Anyway, congratulations. Would you like to say anything? You're good. You're good. Village
I was just gonna say, as long as Steve doesn't sit in front of me, I'm all right.
I'm missing it, okay.
1, 2, 3. Got one more again.
Okay. I'd like to consider a motion to appoint Mr. Scott Raffer as a laborer to as an annual salary of $83,861 effective June 1st, 2019. Motion? Trustee Nell. Second, Trustee Rosillo. All in favor? Unanimous. Consider a motion to appoint Mr. Gary Vazowski as lead maintenance mechanic at an annual salary of $93,093 effective June 1st, 2019. Motion? Deputy Mayor Cassell, second. Trustee DeRossi, all in favor? Unanimous. Consider a motion to appoint our village clerk, Elizabeth Draper, as the village liaison for the 2020 United States Census. Motion? Trustee DeRossi, second. Trustee Sullivan, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, we're going to open up a public hearing to discuss and consider certain changes to the affordable housing position of the zoning code. So I will need to take a motion on this to open up the...
Yeah, you take a motion to open the public hearing, and I'll just do a brief
Okay,
introduction.
so let me take a motion to open the public hearing regarding changes to the code on affordable housing provisions. Motion? Deputy Mayor Cassell, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? Unanimous. So the village attorney, Lori Lee Dixon, will make a few comments on this.
Sure. Thank you. I can introduce this. The provision in your zoning code for affordable housing, inclusionary affordable housing, hadn't been reviewed in a while, and I noted with, as pointed out by your village administrator, Charlene, that it was not in compliance with Westchester County's model code. So I took a stab at revising your existing provisions to include the mandatory provisions required in the county's mandatory code. It does not affect the inclusionary aspects of it. It expands the fair and affordability aspects of your existing affordable housing provisions. And it now meets the model code. Once it's been adopted, then you'll be in compliance, and it also affects your qualifications for your community development block grants. So this was a prerequisite to having this completed. So the board will take comments this evening. Mr. Mayor and board, I would ask that you hold the public hearing open this evening. We haven't received the necessary comments back from the county planning department yet, which is necessary because this is a revision to your zoning code. That referral was made along with a draft EAF, and where we have to provide them either 30 days or upon receipt of the comments before you can close the public hearing and proceed to take action. So the comments should be addressed to the board. It's not a question and answer period per se. It's just your opportunity for your residents to be heard
To
on the
make a
matter.
comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question, Lily. If I'm reading it correctly, right now, in our code, we have above 10 units, one has to be affordable. According to this new code, it's between 5 and 9 requires one?
Yes, between 5 and 9 requires 1, and anything over 10 would be the 10% of all of the units. 10% of all of the units would need to meet the affordability requirements of the
And there's
county.
also something about 15% if the structure is already there, if the infrastructure is already.
Correct. It
there.
gives you the flexibility to require that if the structure is in place and the infrastructure is in place and the community itself can accommodate the extra units, then yes, there is an opportunity for that as well.
Could you, Lori Lee, just make a comment about what, so that it's clear what affordability is?
Sure. It's based on the AMI, which is the median area, median index, income index, and that's established by the county. So it would be 80% of that middle range of income in Westchester County. And also, there's a section which talks about providing fair and affordable housing for the 60% qualifications as well. And this is taken directly from the model code. Liz, this is on the website, is that correct? Because we're going to be holding this open, you'll have an opportunity to hear each other's comments this evening, and if you'd like to look at it more closely and provide comments, even written comments, they would be entered into the record
Yeah,
before the
one more
hearing is
clarification on
closed.
affordable. The median income in Westchester County is like $120,000. So affordable housing would start at like 86.
Correct, right, correct. That would be affordable at the 80% AMI, yeah. Very good. Okay, thanks.
Unfortunately, it's a little bit more than
I checked, I thought it was like,
that.
yeah?
Yeah. Well, because the median income has increased
Yeah.
on it. Okay. Any comments? Patty Steinschneider? State your name and address, Patty.
Tommy Steinschneider, 229 Broadway, Dobbs Ferry, New York. Several weeks ago, I had the opportunity of going to ACE and participating in a summit that was dealing with affordable housing. I know that some of the people, like Donna was there, I think Laura Lee, you were there too. I think it's a really great program, and it's dealing with this very important issue. And I think it's great that the village is moving forward with this. Thank you to Charlene for getting us to where we need to be with it. Because being able to get the CDBG grant money, I think is something we really care about. I think all of you care about it probably almost as much as we do. So thank you very much. I think this is a really good step.
Thank you, Patty. Anybody else like to make a comment? Rob?
Hi, Rob Aaron, 10 Lane, Dobbs Ferry. So I'm here on behalf of my wife, first off, I apologize, along with Laura, Rob Lane, and a few other people are on the
Ad hoc committee.
and Tracy Frisch are the ad hoc task force on affordable housing in Dobbs Ferry. So Tracy, I'm not going to read you her entire email, but she made some edits which has been forwarded to you. Specifically, they reference subsections A1 and C4, Corey. Just for affordable housing, that be increased to 15%. And then also allowing for the village board, that the village board may mandate in its reasonable discretion a higher percentage of affordable housing units and up to, instead of 15, 20%. The other piece of it is, the recommendation is that the section that talks about requiring the applicant to pay a per unit fee in lieu, which shall be deposited into a special affordable housing fund, and so on, be struck from the law, so that the committee feels like it's just that we as a town, as a village, don't have the sort of wherewithal at this time to be building affordable housing. And we'd rather have it with experienced developers doing it and using the set-asides in the code. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rob.
Lori, I just
Or
want
sh-
to, this is a model, this is based upon the Westchester County model statute, so it's been put into effect by most communities, or has it been modified by most communities? What's your sense of that?
My sense is that they have incorporated the mandatory provisions of the model code
Hastings, I think, has the 15%.
into their local codes, yes. And I just wanted to point out that the fee in lieu is an existing provision in
Yeah.
your code, and I actually expanded the language to sort of soften that language, because the village isn't necessarily in the place to develop housing of its own. It could be used for public-private partnerships, or if your unit count gets high enough where a contract for operational expenses is needed. The fee in lieu in some of the other communities, that special fund, is used to provide a contract for generally not-for-profits in order to operate the affordable housing and to enforce, to be sure. You are lucky enough to have delegated that to the county, and at this time, the county's not charging you for that oversight, but in a perfect world, if your affordability housing stock goes up exponentially, they could very well ask for a contracted amount. So the fee in lieu isn't just earmarked to build. It also could be used to assist and to incentivize developers by helping with infrastructure improvements, any number of things. There's just an opportunity there to do it. And in some cases, I think we had talked about this actually at the seminar as well, at PACE, the Affordability Summit. In some cases, the fee in lieu is put into an account because for these rehabilitation projects, it's not always possible to locate necessarily all of the units at the development site. So permitting this fee in lieu then would allow you to encourage affordability in other areas. Say all of your affordability ends up on one side of town and you'd like to be able to expand that. This allows for placement to incentivize developers to put it in other areas as well. So there's some flexibility. I did soften the language, and certainly the board, after the hearing closes, will have the opportunity to strike it or to revise it to make it even more flexible. It really depends as the process moves forward.
But it's definitely at the board's discretion. No one can
Yes.
ask for it and expect to get it.
Correct. It always is, a valid reason has to be presented in order for you to move forward. And we can actually ask the your task force to draft criteria, which makes it hard and fast. And if you meet the criteria, then there's a possibility that it could be an account deposit, or if it doesn't meet the criteria, you can stop it right there. But, I mean, there are lots of opportunities to soften it, to make it more flexible, to provide incentive, all of the things that I've already talked about. And now I will be quiet.
If I read it right, Lori Lee, we can't consider it if their development allows for the incorporation of the affordable housing units.
They can ask.
That's not how how it
They
reads,
can,
so.
they can
Okay.
ask for the fee, to pay a fee in lieu, but you would need to establish, based upon that particular set of circumstances, whether A, it's appropriate, and what that fee would be, an appropriate fee, yeah.
Yeah, I do know that calculating an affordable housing fee can be quite daunting, so that's something else I think the task force, if you are
Sure.
doing a payment in lieu of,
Yeah.
would have to look into, because I know, I did research years ago, and it's like every single community has a totally different.
It's a different
Calculation.
formula, sure.
Okay. Any other comments? Anybody else would like to address this issue? Rob, I guess in addition to you, we'll have to thank Tracy also for those comments. I said in addition to you, we need to thank Tracy also for the comment. Yeah, okay, thanks. Okay, so we will carry this over.
Yes, I would advise that you carry it over to a date certain, so if you could just enter into the record the date of your
The
next
date?
meeting, that would be appropriate.
Okay. So do I need to take a motion to carry it over?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to carry this over to our next meeting. Trustee Nell, second trustee Taylor, all in favor? Unanimous? Okay. Next,
What's the next meeting?
June 11th.
June 11th?
June 11th.
Yes.
Okay, we have a public hearing to discuss and consider certain changes to Chapter 175 of the Village Code, which addresses fees. This is more of an administrative change. Every time we need to change a fee, now we need to change the law. This will allow us to do it once a year and just adjust as we're going without having to change the law every time. So it helps us out as far as administration. So let me take a motion to open the public hearing to discuss and consider changes to Chapter 175 fees of the Village Code. Trustee DeRozzi, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? Unanimous. Do we have any comments?
Want Lori Lee to explain it?
Yeah, and just
Oh, Lord.
brief, the operative word being brief. This is a repeal of the chapter itself, and my suggestion to the board, in order to address the needs of the village as they arise through the year, this provides the opportunity for the board to discuss it at public meetings and actually make an amendment to a fee to accommodate a certain event or for a certain reason, or if you're finding that the costs of processing certain licenses are not meeting the cost of the staff in order to do that, this allows you to accommodate fees up or down, and the fee schedule then is maintained as in the official documents of the village. So it doesn't require a local law, which is a minimum of 60 days, in order to make an amendment to your fee schedule. The fee schedule is removed from the local law, and all of the references in the code then say the fee schedule is available with the village clerk's office. So many communities have done this. It's for ease of administration and for making things happen on a more quicker basis to accommodate the needs of the residents.
It's also cheaper.
Yes, it's also cheaper.
I love that. Less expensive.
And cheaper too.
Okay, any comments? Anybody else like to make a comment? No? Okay, so I guess I could take a,
You don't have to hold this one open because it's not a zoning provision. There was no need for it to be referred. General municipal law requires you to refer certain things, but this one is independent of that.
all right, so I'll close the
You
public hearing.
You can close the public hearing, sure.
Okay. I'll take a motion to close the public hearing on Chapter 175 fees of the Village Code. Trustee Rosillo, second. Trustee Nell, all in favor? Unanimous. Now we have my favorite folks here.
Do
This,
we have to take an action on this?
no.
I wouldn't recommend you take action because you'll need to deliberate at your next meeting. Once you've deliberated, then you have the ability to take action. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So the Sustainability Task Force, we're going to announce, Ania, we're going to announce the winners?
We're gonna announce it really fast because we're gonna flip the script a little bit. Not only is
Oh, let me move it. You want me to move that down for you?
Because one of the young winners has to go for ice hockey.
Oh.
He's been waiting patiently. So we had a speech prepared, but Mayor, can you?
Oh, you want me to come
do the
down?
honors?
Okay.
While the mayor is coming down, I just want to thank everybody. This idea for the Sustainability Task Force doing the Trees Our Life Art and Word Show was inclusive. It began with Charlene and it spread. I want to thank Elizabeth. Any town that has two Elizabeths working is a great thing. Elizabeth Hobson, our amazing library director, has given so much time and effort to put this inclusive art show. All the 4 schools participated. So it was Children's Village, shout out to them, Dock Academy, Dockside Middle School and High School, as well as the Master's School. The voting was done by all the artwork and word work. The names weren't revealed, we numbered it, randomly assigned numbers. Village residents voted online and paper ballots, and finally, Mayor, we have 2 winners. 1 winner for the word contest and 1 winner for the art. So if you would, we also had 3 wonderful sponsors. The mayor spoke brilliantly at the opening event. Thank you, Mayor. You tested.
They are my favorite.
You tested all our knowledge that day too. So if you would just flip it around, then we can have that young man go off with his ice hockey. I actually think he's in there, but he's not. 1, 2, 3. Please do, Mayor, would you, that's the young gentleman.
Oh, Noah Whitney, $50 prize.
And his word work is gonna be printed on either side, so there's gonna be, the artwork is gonna be on one side of the reusable bag, and the poetry of note that Noah's written is gonna be on the other side. First ever DF reusable bag. Thank you, Noah. Okay, Noah.
Can we read the poetry?
Okay, no,
I'm gonna hang on to the prize.
we want to hear Noah read it.
Poor Noah, he has to go ice hockey as well.
Sturdy during a storm, vibrantly lit in the sun, agile in the wind. Reinvigorated after rain, sanctuary for the life.
Sorry for putting you on the spot. Good luck in ice hockey. Yes, yes.
The board?
Can we all,
Can we do
yeah?
that? We'll get in.
Elizabeth, Liz, everyone, Charlene,
Liz?
come on down.
Come down.
This was your idea. Come on now. Holly, over here. Holly is very kind. She's going to be actually producing the
You want to see her, do you
reusable
want to
bag.
stand in front of you?
Yeah, we'll stand up front too.
And then all the trustees, you can all get behind us and.
Who's gonna take the picture now, Ralph?
Yes.
They would see you.
It doesn't matter, nobody cares if we're in the picture.
Gotta get this,
Crescent going?
even. We gotta get
Neil,
this.
you want to sign that?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
he's got
short,
it.
I'm short.
What's, he's taking so many pictures today.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
Congratulations.
We have another winner as well. We have Violette Rajanian, who was the winner of the art show. It's her mom's birthday, so Sonia had
Better plans.
and so Violette is not able to be with us, but we have her prize and we will be giving it to her.
Okay.
I have the money here. It was a great event.
But
Good luck at the game.
I think that we had all of the schools involved, not just the children games and St. Christopher's and pastors, and quite a few people, I think,
Yeah, we had about, more than half, so
yeah, yeah.
but Noah is from the master school and he's out. Our director, Shani, and the other winner is from Dobbs Ferry High School. We had a very close contest. There were a lot of other people that could have elected. It was, the voting was tight, with some brilliant submissions. And we thank all the kids for their creative talents, especially Liz Hoffman. And just one more word to thank Anil and Karen for doing such a beautiful job of putting together this art show. I think you'll agree.
I agree, it was, I mean, I had a lot of fun. The artwork was really spectacular, and so were some of the writings that were there. And everybody, you know, they had refreshments, it was lovely, and this refreshment.
No, thanks, Stop and Shop.
Stop and Shop was the one that provided it, and everything was just, it was a great day to be at the library, and to see all the kids that participated. It's just great for the community, and that's what we love, collaboration, working together, getting things done. It helps everybody with what we do. So thanks, anybody that was involved, thank you very much for doing that. Leah, thank you. Okay, next we have a presentation. Jeremy, are you all set? Presentation by Jeremy Combond from, Jeremy's the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Children's Village, and he's going to talk with us tonight about his vision and future plans for Children's Village. Jeremy, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's always good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Trustees, thank you. If I knew I was going after Manila, I would have taken a 5-mile run to get the energy that she has, but I'm going to try. I am the 9th president of the Children's Village. To those of you who don't know us, we were founded in 1848 by Peter Cooper, of Peter Cooper Union fame. We moved to Dobbs Ferry and opened our campus here in 1901. I am always proud to say that we do difficult work, but it's important work that needs to be done. We are the first organization in the country that worked with children who were legally separated from their parents. So unlike the other institutions in the area that were orphanages, we were not. We were an institution that was founded to work with kids who were legally separated. And to just give you some context on this, when we moved up here in 1901, the kids that were legally separated in the greater New York City area were predominantly Irish Catholic, non-English speaking European immigrants and Eastern European immigrants. By the 1970s, they were predominantly black, and today they are still predominantly black and more often brown. I've been at Children's Village since 2004. This is my 16th year, and we have made some changes. When I came to Children's Village, this campus represented about 95% of the work we did. This was the historical mission, but since then, we have, I think, been enlightened that even though we are a beautiful campus, that kids should not grow up in institutions, that they need to grow up with people and with love, and no matter how hard we work, an institution can't provide love and belonging. People do. And in the last 15 years, we have gone back to our communities. Today, this campus represents about 40% of the work we do. 60% of our work is in the poor, deeply historically segregated communities where our kids come from. And we've done some remarkable work there, including, and some of you have seen, building affordable housing, high quality, low-density affordable housing, where young people who otherwise would age into homeless shelters can live with us in 600 square foot studios, paying $165 a month in rent. We were just selected to build the New York Public Library and the Eliza in Inwood, where we hope to bring 2-bedroom affordable apartments on market for $450 a month. We have already done that at $1,000 a month, and we think $450 in Manhattan is not an impossible number either. So while we've been doing all these other things, over the last 5-6 years, I've returned to focus on the campus. Our numbers are much less than it's ever been. We have less children on the campus, but the needs of a residential program, even for the kind of short-term care that we provide, is pretty high. Residential care, by its nature, is high-density infrastructure, expensive work. There is no way around it. It's a lot of bricks and mortar, it's a lot of upkeep. Psychologists, psychiatrists, medical practitioners on call 24/7. That's the nature of the work we do. This piece of work, while it's much smaller today, remains very important to us because every night, there's a child that needs a bed. And in the absence of that bed, children end up in homeless shelters, kids end up trafficked for sex, they trade sex for room and board, kids end up in jail. All outcomes that in the long run cost society and children a lot more. We have thought about ways to monetize our resources and raise the money we need to make this campus even stronger. And over the last 6 years, I have met with our trustees on countless occasions and looked at all sorts of options. And we come before you today to propose one option that we believe is the one that works well for us, and it is to develop one part of our property that adjoins our property alone and the sawmill, because it will give us the best opportunity to raise the kind of money that we need to keep our program and the Dobbs Ferry campus strong, while also investing in Dobbs Ferry as we have in my tenure. At every opportunity where we were able to do something with the village of Dobbs Ferry, we did that. The last, I believe, was the $12 million LDC that we ran through the village of Dobbs Ferry when we had the opportunity to do that. So it is my intention to find a solution that's win-win for the institution and for the village. And to do so, we have identified the piece of property that runs alongside what we call Snake Hill, which was the original entrance to our campus. It's identified in the red oval there, and we have selected the Hillside Development Group, experienced developer, to work with us in building the kind of housing that we believe could bring the win-win solution that we want. It would be a mix of assisted living, memory care, and senior housing, and multi-family rental units. I want to say that there were other pieces of property at Children's Village that we also considered, including the 50 acres next to Judson that was put up for sale in the early 2000s and taken off the market in 2004 when I arrived. We have property along Walgrove Avenue below the Evans house that we could have also considered. But in both cases, certainly in those two cases, the entrance and exit would have been right into the village of Dobbs Ferry. And we wanted to minimize the impact on Dobbs Ferry and the community, while still bringing the benefits to the village and to the Children's Village. If the village would consider this option and a conversation around how we could do this, I believe that we can bring to the community some some of the changes that have been requested, including possibly making Snake Hill our primary entrance and available for access 24/7, which will be of real benefit to the community. We also have a long-standing agreement with the village. I think we are in our 40th year. I may be a little wrong, where we have a pilot agreement for the use of the public school in the village of Dobbs-Ferry. It has been a successful model and one that we have never walked away from. We believe that that pilot can be a vehicle for this proposed development. And the funds that we receive from this will make an investment in the institution for the next 100 years. We have a lot of infrastructure needs on the campus. While we have done a lot, those of you who walk the campus, you know we've built the Lanza Center, we've built the Keith Haring Medical Center. We've done a lot to improve our property, but there's still a lot more work to be done, including building out Snake Hill so that it could be a 24/7 access. Can we stop there?
That's, you finished, Jeremy, or?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Any,
So I could keep talking, but you wrote 7 minutes, and I'm sticking to my timeline.
well,
That's great.
thank you for coming in, and, I mean, there's really no action the board needs to take at this meeting. But, you know, I mean, I'd like to keep an open mind about this, and I think we need to, you know, go a little further with site planning, and I think you need to have a planner involved, and
We do, and at the right opportunity, when the trustees allow us to do so, I will make sure that the developer and our team is available to you to get into the details, to make the proposal, to go through the SEQA process. I knew nothing about construction 15 years ago, but having built Harlem and now building the Eliza, I know what it takes to get this task done, and we'd love to. Certainly, the other properties, the other locations of greater interest, we could talk about that too, but I think this is the property that has the least impact on the village, since we are the only neighbor. Children's Village is the immediate neighbor, and the property goes directly into the sawmill.
Jeremy,
You have Walden Wood as a neighbor, you have Hunter's Run as a neighbor, you have Chauncey Square, so I mean, there's a lot of,
Immediate neighbor. Apologies. I mean, we are all neighbors.
but can you just give us, I know your time is up, but can you give us a little hint of how, like, how much space are you planning on, would be the plan to use? How many acres generally?
This is about 30 acres
30 acres.
across, that oval represents about 30 acres.
And you said you were going to do assisted living,
assisting me, that's what I wanted to know.
multifamily housing and
Senior
Certainly
housing.
Senior
affordable housing.
Affordable
There's
housing.
certainly a need there, and it's, what we have done in Manhattan is all 100% affordable, so we have an interest in affordable housing. We are open to a conversation, but as, you're right, we do have neighbors, but we are the immediate neighbor.
Right.
As opposed to the 50 acres that opens up onto Judson, or the piece along the Hastings border, which still goes into Hastings and into Dobbs Ferry, or right off Springhurst, that big piece of property, which also then exits into the village.
Right. Well, I appreciate you coming and giving us the preliminary sketching of it, and I think we could all go forward from there, but thank you for at least coming public with it.
Thank you.
Anybody else
I'd
have?
like to, no, I would like to
Trustee
actually ask
Taylor?
a couple of questions and make a comment. You're obviously familiar with and sensitive to some of the things that are gonna come up along the way here in terms of the number of units, the impact on the schools, how it'll affect traffic, demand for services. All those things are gonna be important things to be considered by the board and the community. One question I had for you, and I apologize that I don't know off the top of my head, maybe if you don't, somebody on the dais does. What school district is that in? Because, of course, as many people in the room know, Rivertown Square, although it's in Dobbs, is Ardsley Schools. So I'm curious because I know that's one of the things that people are gonna ask us on the board pretty immediately.
I think we need to spend some time looking at that. My guess is that it's in Dobbs Ferry, but given what happened at Rivertown Square, I don't want to provide a clear answer because I don't think I know it.
Right, well, I don't know either, so, but I think it's a question that'll come up.
I heard it was Greenberg, is that not true?
I'm sorry?
Greenberg 11?
Our school district, the Children's Village School District is Greenberg 11, but this property will come out of that trust. It will come out of the Special Act Trust, and it will be part of the public school district. And regarding the details and answering questions, I intend to be completely available to answer those questions as transparently as we can.
What was the pilot that you referenced earlier?
We have a long-standing pilot with the Dobbs Ferry School District where for every child that attends from our affordable housing project, DSN Housing, which is staff housing on our campus, we pay the Dobbs Ferry School District. It's been a very successful model and one that has worked well for the school district, and we've made no changes to in its entire existence.
Good.
Will this land now become taxable? Property taxes?
The pilot would be based on, yes, the assumption is
You
that
mentioned a pilot for the school, I'm talking about
No,
money for the
pilot
village.
for, we believe that the pilot will be for all tax purposes.
For village services.
I know you have an attorney in the room that probably could help us describe that in greater detail.
So
But the answer is yes.
So you'll retain ownership and lease the property?
Our current agreement with the developer is a long-term lease with an option to purchase.
Okay.
And when is Children's Village looking to really start the process?
I've spent 6 years talking about this. We are ready. It's been before you in public because we believe that this is the best option for us and one that also allows us to be responsive to the Dobbs Ferry community. I have no interest in doing things that don't fit with the things that we all want together. It is not my interest to do so.
You had mentioned affordable housing. I know at one point years ago, you were talking about affordable housing for staff members. Is this going to be open affordable housing? Is this affordable housing just for Children's Village residents who graduate out or for staff, or is it open?
This will be open affordable housing. We will want to have equal access to some of that housing, but the idea here is to bring more affordable housing into our community. Not to create more affordable housing for Children's Village. That's not the intention.
You know, well, I'm glad you came in, Jeremy, and thank you for doing that. I have a soft spot in my heart for Children's Village. I volunteer there, and company sponsors a cottage up there, and I spent a lot of time with the kids there. And you know, I think we've spoken about this. You know, if you grow up with two good parents like I did, you have a real advantage in life. If you have one parent, you have an advantage. These kids really don't have any opportunity at all, and you're doing some wonderful things there. So we appreciate what you're doing up there. There's a lot, though, I think, that needs to come forward with this and the process, that, and there'll be a lot of questions that come up. So, you know, we can begin that process, and I personally will keep an open mind. There's obviously not a lot of information now, but we'll start the process rolling.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I'll await your guidance.
Just so we all,
Okay.
understand, maybe Charlene or Lori Lee, what is the process from here? Do they have to do a formal presentation to us as the board of trustees, and then we refer it to the planning board?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, this is conceptual at this point, so we're just starting the conversation in terms of what uses are proposed. I'm not even sure if a developer's been chosen or any of that information, but once something is gelled in, a formal site plan can be brought forward, which you'd have an opportunity to review and then provide
We have
comments.
chosen a developer,
I thought that, yeah, Hillside,
Yeah.
right?
so we can make sure that they're available to you anytime.
Great.
Thank you.
Jeremy, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Okay, courtesy of the floor, would anybody like to address the board? Anybody want to address the board? Any, Rob?
Hi, Rob Aaron, I'm actually speaking on my, feet, on my wife, is coming to speak first. I just want to, I wanted to sort of ask the board, I was here during all the hearings and meetings for Rivertown Square. I was the initial author of the traffic committee EIS documents. A lot of, and Donna remembers that we put a lot of time and effort in the traffic committee into that. I just want to ask that, that we sort of keep an open mind and we sort of look at this as a constructive engagement way, that's the term, constructive engagement, with CV. It's a great institution. Personally, with Elisa and Neela and the Sustainability Task Force and the traffic committee, we've been meeting with CV on trying to get them to continue their work in reducing the number of single occupancy vehicle trips, also known as transportation demand management. CV has 28% of their workforce that does not drive to their campus every day, which is a very high number compared to other institutions and businesses in the village. So I really hope that we can, there's a lot of benefits that can come. It could be a win-win-win for everyone. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Rob. Anybody else like to address the board? Curtis, yes, ma'am? State your name and address.
Hi, Sue Galloway.
Hi, Sue.
122 Judson Avenue. I had heard about this development, and I just wanted to put a voice out that's saying I'd love to have some kind of environmental survey done of what it means to take down 30 acres of trees, especially on a steep slope that's right above the sawmill. And I'll also make a suggestion, which is something you might want me to do right now, which is take a hike. But over side woods and just, you can kind of get to that area when you take a hike in there, and you can really see there's all these like old trees there, like 100 years old. So just to think about what impact that a development like that might have on the environment.
Right, thank you, Sue. Anybody else like to make a comment? Address the board on any issue at the courtesy of the floor? No? Okay. I am making an appointment of Mayor's Advisory Council with former mayors, appointing Joseph Bova, Hartley Connett, Don Mara. I see Don Mara is here tonight, one of the great mayors in Dobbs Ferry history. Thank you, Don. Set the, when you look in the encyclopedia with the word mayor, Don's picture's in there. It's, you set the standard. Very high bars. Don Mara, Brian Monahan, and Scott Seskin. You know, I noticed we've been talking about this in many, many meetings over the last year or so. You know, we're trying to get people to fill committees, many other things, and help in different areas. And the one thing I noticed, and I do call former mayors periodically, is that they all still stayed in Dobbs Ferry. And that's a big thing. That means they still love the village, they want to stay here, they want what's best for the village, and I think can help in many ways. Do some things. In fact, I know, Don, that you volunteer in many, many different areas, but one thing was you helped out the American Legion with the parade this year, and it was, I know in my 26 years it was the best parade, one of the best I've seen in my memory, so thank you for all you do.
Can you just clarify a little bit, is this committee going to meet on a regular basis, or what is your vision for it?
Yeah, periodically, as, you know, necessary, maybe once a month, once every 2 months.
And is there going to be just, because this is the first time we've ever had an advisory council like this. Do other communities have it? And
They
how does
do,
it
yeah. In
work?
fact, that's where the idea came from. I'll give an example. Bob Williams from Elmsford. And he's the mayor of Elmsford. And Bob does it. And, you know, they're all of these folks are willing to help the village out and participate and continue to be a real benefit for the village. So why not take advantage of it? And,
What's the purpose of an actual committee, though, as opposed to just?
well, it
That's
saves
what I
me,
was
instead of
gonna ask.
making 5 phone calls, I actually get everybody together and kick around some ideas. It's like any other committee that we have in the village. Why have it?
Well, no, it's, I mean, are they gonna be privy to like confidential communications that we have, you know,
No.
like we do in the
We
executive
do- I
committees
don't think
and
I'm
stuff like
allowed to
that?
do that.
Well, I'm just asking, because this is, the first time I heard about it was when I saw the agenda last week, and I was surprised earlier this week, and I was surprised that the deputy mayor is not a member of the council as well, because it would
Right.
seem that, you know, if,
Well,
God forbid
I
for some
I
reason you-
modeled it after the mayor from Elmsford.
I figured you did, and his deputy mayor is actually a member of his council.
Oh, so I'll check that.
I just thought it would make sense if you're going to have an advisory council of former mayors, that the deputy mayor also be included, because if, God forbid, for some reason you were unable to serve in your duties, it'd be better for the deputy mayor to be
Do you
privy to
know,
what's
do you
going
know
on.
something I don't?
No, Bob. Of course I
But
know.
but
I'm
in
not
the-
wishing anything on anybody, but that does periodically happen. You know, you could have a family emergency that requires you to be unavailable. You could have a personal emergency. There's different things, but I just think if you're going to do this council and it's your prerogative to do it, then it makes sense to have the deputy mayor on it as well.
Well, I'm no offense to anybody, but I'm kind of like the baby of the group. But to me, it was like we were your council people. That's how I see the trustees. So that's why I you know, no disrespect to all of the
Well,
knowledge.
these
Not
folks
disrespect
have
to all the
been
knowledge that
through-
all of you bring into the table, because I think that we all can benefit from it. And that's the only thing that came to my mind. Innocently me, I was like, wait a minute, but aren't we his advisors? I was just-
Completely different issues.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, they've been through things, and yeah, it's just a different group. Just to keep them involved in the village, that's
So
all.
advisory of history and experience. Okay.
Experience.
I would just, I'd make the observation, I've seen in my time on the board, a number of circumstances where prior mayors, including, you know, Don, have made an observation based on history or having seen something before where an issue has come up and decisions were made or not made, or things happened in a certain way, and that can be valuable. That said, I think it also would be a good, I would agree that it would be a good idea to have the deputy mayor participate to make sure that, you know, there's a broader, you know, participation, and that also that there's backup, and those opinions are also valid. So, this deputy mayor would also benefit. But there's definitely wisdom in history. All of us have seen
Definitely,
situations where
yeah.
somebody who walks in has a good idea, but isn't necessarily taking into account things that have happened in the past that, you know, where maybe that idea's been tried before, there are other,
Right.
you know, issues.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Donna, one more meeting.
I haven't been
Well,
appointed
Bob
yet.
didn't appoint her.
Okay, I'd like to,
I'm just gonna go on record, though. I mean, if you're not putting Donna on it, and like I said, it's your prerogative, but if you're not gonna put the deputy mayor on it, I am against the advisory
Okay.
council.
thank you. Consider a motion to approve orders number 3, number 4, and number 5 for May 2019 as recommended by the village treasurer.
It's an ad hoc.
Jeff, you have any comments?
No comments at this time.
Trustee Taylor? Comment?
We'll make a motion.
Okay, second the motion? Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? Unanimous? Consider a motion to transfer funds from Consolidated Recreation Fund to the capital projects as follows. $450,000 to the pool project, $400,000 to the Embassy Club renovation project, $100,000 to establish a project to begin construction on a playground at Gould. Motion?
May I say something?
Sure.
All these monies that are being appropriated now and transferred to capital funds, they are truly for those projects. especially with the Gould Park playground. I know there's some concern that the monies will go into something else. So this is really to assure that those monies are there to use on that particular project.
Great. Thank you. Any other comments? Motion? Trustee Taylor, second trustee Nell, all in favor? Unanimous. Consider a motion to amend the 2018-19 general fund budget as follows. Increase the appropriated fund balance and increase transfers to capital fund by $510,300 to fund the pool project. Increase the appropriated fund balance and increase transfers to the capital fund by $729,060 to fund the Embassy Club project. Increase the appropriated fund balance and increase transfers to the capital fund by $27,000 to fund the cost of the 99 Cedar Street parking lot, costs that exceeded the insurance proceeds. Increase the appropriated fund balance and increase transfers to the capital fund by $150,000 to fund the Village Hall Walking Bridge Replacement Project, and increase the appropriated fund balance and increase transfers to the capital fund by $30,000 to fund the DPW camera project. Any comments? Jeff? Charlene? Comment?
No, I think
No?
it's very-
Motion? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? Consider a motion to authorize the village administrator to sign the snow and ice index lump sum contracts, payment factor adjustment amendment, B, for the winter of 2018 to 19. Charlene?
I would only recommend it if it was an increase, and this is an increase. So it's 2,000 some odd dollars more that they are giving us for the snow removal on the state
Roads.
roads.
Okay.
There's a formula.
Okay, motion. Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Drozi, all in favor? Consider a motion to extend the equipment rental and labor rates contract with Tom Bucci Excavating until May 31st, 2020. Okay, consider a resolution to add the construction phase and funds to the village's Main Street streetscape project.
As you know, we had a Main Street project for some 300 and some odd dollars, and it required a 50% match. So this is just formalizing that because we're getting to the point of the construction or the construction design of it.
Motion? Trustee Nell, second trustee Taylor. All in favor? Okay, consider a motion to extend the equipment rental and labor rates contract with Tom Bucci Excavating until May 31st, 2020. Motion? This is an extension of the existing contract.
Yes, what we did, because rather than rebid it, because we get very good prices, we know we get very good prices from both these companies, to extend it another year, both agreed, and so that's why we're presenting it to you.
Okay. Motion?
I just want to confirm that this isn't something that we are forced to bid. If we're getting a good deal, we're
No.
allowed to extend this contract?
Yes, we're allowed to extend it.
Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, consider a motion to extend the concrete sidewalk, concrete curbing, and blacktop repair contract with Pat Paving, Inc. until May 31st, 2020. So we have the same
Yes.
scenario
Yes.
with this one.
Same exact scenario.
A motion, trustee Nell, second. Trustee Drozi, all in favor? Unanimous. Consider a motion to schedule a public hearing for the renewal of the franchise agreement with Cablevision. Charlene,
This is just setting a public hearing. The law and the term sheet will be out, given to the public to review. Actually, the negotiations have produced a better deal than we had 10 years ago. So therefore, I would recommend it. I mean, it's been pretty much negotiated. It's the 5% franchise fee, an $88,000 some odd dollar PEG grant, which is divided into two with two payments for the first year and the second year. There is a provision, if Verizon does not come to the table, that there will be a clawback, but that will be only $22,000. Additionally, Embassy Center technology that Cablevision can give, like connections, et cetera, in the amount of $10,000 have been negotiated within this project. And also another $10,000 technology grant to be used as we see fit on technology for the Embassy Center. The PEG grant will be used to improve a lot of the technology we have here, which many people have complained about. And it is old.
Great. Thanks, Charlene. Okay. Motion? Trustee Nell. Second. Trustee Taylor. All in favor? United? Consider.
Do we have to say when we're scheduling the public hearing
Yes.
for?
We're going to do it for the June 11th?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll take a motion to schedule the public hearing for June 11th. Trustee Nell, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? Consider a motion authorizing the mayor to draft a letter to Governor Andrew Cuomo, Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins, and Assemblyman Carl Heastie regarding the municipal transportation funding, which was cut. And this is basically many municipalities are asking to reconsider the reduction in this funding. So do I have a motion? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee DeRossi, all in favor? Consider a motion to approve a request from Dobbs Ferry Youth Football to hang a banner on the Gould Park fence until September 1, 2019. Motion? Trustee Nell, second. Trustee DeRossi, all in favor? Any comments on the minutes from May 14th, 2019? No comment?
I have no comments.
Consider, okay, reports and announcements.
You have to make a motion.
Oh, we do have to make a motion on
You traditionally
To approve
have
the
done a
minutes.
motion to accept the minutes as
Okay.
prepared, so.
Take a motion to accept the minutes?
You don't need to have been present in order to vote.
Okay. Motion, Trustee Nell, second. Trustee DeRossi, all in favor? Unanimous. Reports and announcement, Trustee DeRossi?
I just would like to give a big thanks to everybody that helped yesterday with the parade and every resident and member of the community that came out to celebrate. I think that it was quite lovely, and thank you to our staff and everybody that cooperated to make it so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Nell? Nothing? Thank you. Trustee Sullivan?
Just want to thank Elizabeth Hobson from the library for doing that American Creed grant and having it culminate yesterday. I think it was something that was special for the village, and I hope she keeps coming up with great ideas like that.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Taylor?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Rizzo?
I'd just like to report that the Historical Society had that picnic, and I know that Trustee Nell was there. I saw her there. I know the Mayor was there. I don't know if anyone else was there, but it was
A lot of fun.
a lot of fun, more hot dogs, and it was very interesting to take a tour of that building and see how it was, so that was great. And also the Memorial Day Parade was great, and I also attended very briefly the bicycle rodeo for the kids. And I saw that, and I even donated one of my old kids' my kids' old bicycles, so I got rid of that out of the garage. So I want to say that was a great event as well. So a lot of things happening.
Terrific. Thank you, Trustee. Deputy Mayor?
I just want to, once again, ask about volunteers for this Conservation Advisory Board. It's a very important board. We have actually statutory input for planning developments, et cetera. So anybody who is interested in that sort of thing, please go to the website, click volunteer, and Liz will send you the application. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you, Deputy Mayor. We have young designers taking over the Mead House Saturday, June 1st, from 1 to 2:30 at the Historical Society. And it was a fun picnic over there, and it is a beautiful house. If you're not familiar with the Historical Society, they do a lot of good things here to keep the history front and center, and they do nice things for the young folks too. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn. Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Nell, all in favor? Unanimous.